After a thrilling 5-set victory just last night, Ball State welcomes Eastern Michigan into Worthen Arena. Both teams fighting to remain perfect in conference play. It's women's college volleyball, and it's next on ESPN3. Worthen Arena, the backdrop tonight as a pair of MAC West foes are set to collide on the opening weekend of conference play. Hello everyone, thanks for joining tonight alongside Corey Stace. I'm Noah Reed. Ball State dropped its first 7 matches to open the season, but has since rattled off 5 of the last 6. The only loss in that span being the 19th ranked team in the country, the Ohio State Buckeyes. Corey, this seems to be a Ball State team that's hitting its stride at the right time as we head into conference play.
Exactly the right time that Ball State wants to hit their stride, and really it started with the defense. Head coach Kelly Miller has said that she loves the way that her team is playing in system, and that's been the difference in these past few weeks.
Eastern Michigan and Ball State, extremely young yet talented teams. If Eastern Michigan wants to come in on the road and beat Ball State, they're going to need a big night from Kelly Ferguson.
Kelly Ferguson is the model of consistency for the Eastern Michigan Eagles, has played in all 50 sets this season for the Eagles, the only player on this team to do so, and she's also a big force in the middle, does not commit many errors. For the Ball State Cardinals, on the other hand, I'm looking for Kate Avila to have a big night. The freshman libero has really picked up her play in the past few weeks. In the past 6 matches, she has averaged over 5 digs per set, and that's been the difference for the Ball State Cardinals. Head coach Kelly Miller said that they don't know if they would have won some of these matches if not for Kate Avila.
Kelly Ferguson for Eastern Michigan, Kate Avila for Ball State. Both teams will need big performances from their respective impact players if they would like to remain perfect in the MAC. First-year head coach for Ball State, Kelly Miller, entering tonight 5-10 for the Ball State Cardinals. Won the conference opener last night against Central Michigan, a 5-set thriller as we had mentioned. Ball State won the first 2 in that match, dropped the next 2, but was able to take that 5th and final decisive match in order to win against Central Michigan. And again tonight, Eastern Michigan in town. There's the second-year head coach, Kimmy Olson, a fantastic playing career for her. Corey, at USC, freshman year, went 35-0, national champions.
Yeah, exactly, and they played. She played that setter position for the USC Trojans. They ran a 6-2 system, just like this Eastern Michigan team runs. So implementing a bit of her own system from her playing days.
Set for first serve inside Worthen Arena, it's Lauren Schreiner, the sophomore. Had 3 aces last night in the team's win against Central Michigan to get us underway. Quick tap over the net from Taylor, and it's picked up by Ball State. Free ball back over to Eastern Michigan. Smith sails way too long. Point to Ball State for the first point of the night.
An interesting look on from the Eastern Michigan Eagles. We weren't really expecting this. Mallory Jaweski, one of the top setters on this team, the top setter on this team in terms of assists per set. Not in the starting lineup for the Eagles. Not sure if she'll play tonight for the Eagles, and it'll be interesting to see how they adjust with Mary Helen Beacom starting at that setter position.
Back to Smith for Eastern Michigan. She gets the kill, coming off a double-double last night against Toledo. 10 kills and 11 digs. She evens a score at 1. Corey, we've alluded to it a little bit. Both of these teams played 5-set matches last night. How much do you think, if we get it later on into a 4th or a 5th set, that the fatigue could really play a role?
I think it could definitely play a role for Eastern Michigan. Ball State, you're at home. You got to sleep in your own bed last night. Eastern Michigan, on the other hand, had a tough match against Toledo just last night in 5 sets, and then they have to travel from Toledo, Ohio to Muncie, Indiana, sleep in a hotel, go through the whole system of a team being on the road. So I think definitely it could affect Eastern Michigan, but both teams, when you play a 5-set match, your legs get tired and fatigue could set in later.
So would you say that Ball State might have a little bit of an advantage with that just because of they were at home, whereas Eastern Michigan has been on the road the last couple days?
I could definitely see that because Eastern Michigan, it's just a different type of feel being on the road. It's not like your home crowd, and then also you just add on to the atmosphere in Worthen Arena. Everyone's going against you, and typically in all sports, most teams play better in their home arena.
Dunn goes cross court for the kill for Ball State. Cardinals extend the lead to 3 early in set 1.
Great early push from the Cardinals. They had that last night as well and got out to a quick start in set number 1 against Central Michigan. That was the deciding factor. After they took set 1, they really seemed like they settled into that match.
Taylor over to the outside hitter, Smith, who just lightly taps it over. Dunn in the middle, directly into the net. Eastern Michigan with the side out. 4-2, the Ball State lead.
Ellie Dunn, someone that you'll see the Ball State Cardinals move all around. We saw just on the last point, she was out on the outside left, then transitioning to the middle off of 1 foot, the slide attack, as they like to call it. But Seaman will look for Ellie Dunn early and often. She does struggle with some errors.
Quick set in the middle. A back set, Murray goes cross court, and it's off the hands of Goodsell. There's head coach Kimmy Olsen, and she's decided to go more with the 6-2 instead of the traditional 5-1 offensive formation for Eastern Michigan, Corey. And so what kind of challenges, if any, does that present to Ball State?
Well, I think that we talked to head coach Kelly Miller about the 6-2 change and maybe what looks that the 6-2 system compared to the 5-1 typical system gives a defense. And she really said that it doesn't affect the personnel you put out. It doesn't affect necessarily the system that Ball State's trying to run defensively. It more affects maybe the personnel just with the different matchup changes that it may present. But right now for Eastern Michigan, we're actually seeing a 5-1 system. We are not seeing 2 setters out there, which is totally unexpected. The 6-2 system is what they've been known to run all season, but right now Riley Taylor, the true freshman, the only setter in the ballgame.
Seaman with the quick attack, and it's down in front of the back row of Eastern Michigan. So Eastern Michigan normally does go with that 6-2, and the reason that head coach Kelly Miller told us it doesn't change anything is because there's no really blocking weaknesses on this Ball State defense. Last year you had that a little bit. You had to keep Alex filling in because of offensively what she could provide to you. But defensively, she was just 5'9", and she left a weakness as far as blocking. That's not the case anymore, Corey.
Across the board for the Ball State Cardinals, Ellie Dunn, Brooklyn Goodsell, Sabrina Magnapora, all over 6 foot at that outside hitter position. So as you said, Alex Filling, an outside hitter for the Ball State Cardinals last year, a bit of a smaller outside hitter, presented a matchup problem on defense, but not this year for the Cardinals. And all of the outside hitters on this team are very capable defensively.
It's the freshman Hannah Smith back to serve for Ball State. Ball State doesn't have that trouble this year, but Eastern Michigan does actually a little bit, Corey, because their 2 outside hitters, Alyssa Sutton, a 5'10" freshman, and your other outside hitter is Jordan Smith, also 5'10". So offensively, they have a lot going, but defensively, they're smaller than your typical outside hitters.
They definitely try to throw some different looks at you. Jordan Smith, the top attacker on this team, only stands at 5'10", so they do have that same problem that Ball State found themselves last year. I would expect them to try and mix Devin Murray, who's also an outside hitter at 6'1", along with one of those smaller outside hitters to not necessarily have that defensive weakness on one of the sides, but you're always going to have it if you do have an outside hitter that's not as capable defensively.
Irby goes long on the attack. Point to the Cardinals. The lead extends up to 3 in the early portion of set 1. Ball State enters tonight 5-10, 1-0 in the Mid-American Conference after a win last night against Central Michigan. Eastern Michigan is 6-8, also 1-0 in conference play, a win against Toledo last night. A double hit is the call on Rajeski, who's in as the setter now for Eastern Michigan.
So instead of that 6-2 system that sometimes presents 2 setters out on the floor at one point, they're going with Mallory Rajeski and Riley Taylor switching in and out. It just gives the Ball State Cardinals a different look at the setter position. They have to adjust depending on what setter is out on the floor for Eastern Michigan. But at the same time, it presents a problem for Eastern Michigan. Although they've been practicing, it's a different feel when you have a different type of setter. Maybe one setter puts it in a different spot for an attacker.
Irby got the kill for Eastern Michigan. She goes back to serve, and Mangapora answers on the outside for Ball State. Mangapora last night had 16 kills in the win against Central Michigan. That was second only to Brooklyn Goodsell's career high 20. Smith on the outside. Picked up in the back row and a save by Avila. Quick set to the middle.
Passing error, point Eastern. Kelly Ferguson to the service line.
Eastern Michigan cuts the Ball State lead down to 3 now, 10-7. And it's Ferguson, the impact player for Eastern Michigan, back to serve. Outside to Smith, deflected at the net. Mangapora blocked by Hamby. A solo block for Eastern Michigan.
Hamby was left on an island out there. Both players inside. I believe it was Devin Murray inside of the middle for Eastern Michigan. Got fooled. Thought Ball State was going to the right side of the offense. Instead, they go to the left, and Hamby still able to make a play with the solo block.
2 consecutive points now for Eastern Michigan. They pull within 1.
Definitely a big moment for a young team like Eastern Michigan. They picked up the victory last night against Toledo for their first Mid-American Conference match, but tonight it's a different type of opponent. Ball State picked to finish 3rd in the MAC West Division, and Eastern Michigan definitely needs a quick start out of the gate to have that confidence moving forward, especially in an opponent's arena.
The second kill for Mangapore tonight. She's led Ball State in 4 of the last 6 matches. Quick set into the middle as Murray attacks. Goodsell on the slide, picked up in the back row. This time Goodsell gets it down. Goodsell had a career-high 20 kills last night, also added 11 digs. That's already her 3rd double-double of the season. And Schreiner into the net.
Schreiner was a big difference maker in the match last night against Central Michigan that went 5 sets, had 3 service aces, 0 service errors like we just saw there. With that untypical type of serve that she has, backing up and just serving it straight from there. You mentioned it last night. A lot of times you see people jump serve out of that formation. She just goes ahead and serves it. It gives the defense a bit of a different look, but you have to get it over the net because she tries to put it so thin over the net to give her the most opportunity to pick up an ace.
The reception error by Schreiner pulls Eastern Michigan within 1. It's Taylor to serve. And miscommunication, a bad pass, and it goes directly into the net. Eastern Michigan ties it up at 12 apiece.
Ball State on the past few points have had trouble passing the ball in the back row, and that's where it all starts. According to Kelly Miller, she said they have to cover in the back row, and once they get in system, that's when they're really effective.
Again, a scramble for Ball State on the defensive side, and they just have to send a free ball over. Quick set into the middle, picked up by Avila. Smith attacks, kept alive by Dunn. Now Dunn on the attack. Outside to Dunn, deflected at the net, kept alive. And it hits the antenna, point Ball State.
Both teams off the get are struggling with passing in the back row and not getting into the system of the bump set spike. A lot of teams having to send free balls over the net. Lauren Schreiner on the past few possessions for the Cardinals has had trouble setting it over her head on initial contact.
DeVoe to serve for Ball State. Continuously going to Smith, and she gets another kill, her 2nd of the night.
Well, early and often the Eagles have gone to Smith, and at that point, Brooklyn Goodsell was left alone, and Smith had a lot of area to work with, being about 3/4 of the way on the left side.
Seaman quickly into the middle, and Holland puts it down. 14-13, the Ball State lead early in the first set. Goodsell to serve. Irby, a quick tap over the net. It sails too long. Point to the Cardinals. That brings us to our first media timeout of the night. 2 consecutive Ball State points breaks the tie. It's 15-13. We'll be back with more set 1 action after this. Welcome back inside Worthen Arena. Early in set one, Ball State holds the 2-point advantage, 15-13. Corey, what have you seen from Ball State early on?
Well, Ball State has come out aggressive, but at the same time, both teams at this point are struggling passing the ball in the back row and really getting into system. For Eastern Michigan, we've seen a lot of pushes over the net. For Ball State, we've seen a lot of free balls over the net to Eastern Michigan, but luckily for the Cardinals, Eastern Michigan not having a very good attacking percentage to start off set number one.
Attacking percentage below 100 for Eastern Michigan. It sets at 217 for Ball State. Irby into two defenders. It's deflected, and Schreiner couldn't catch up to it.
Eastern Michigan has definitely like to go to the outside for the powerful swings. In the middle, it seems like Samantha Falco and Kelly Ferguson have only been able to push the ball into an area of the Cardinals' defense, but on the outside is where Eastern Michigan's really getting to wind up.
Done on the outside, straight into the net. The attack error ties us up 15 apiece.
Ellie Dunn tries to attack the ball so much that sometimes she swings too early, and if she swings too early, she's trying to put so much power on it that it just goes straight into the net, and that's one thing that throughout her career she'll need to work on, because errors is definitely the plague for her.
Back to Dunn again, attacking errors. She sails it too far. That's something Kelly Miller told us. She stepped into a little bit of a bigger role. She struggled at the beginning of the season, but she thinks she's starting to come into her own now.
And at the same point, she's had to step into a big role, because Brooklyn Goodsell's on the other side, a solid outside hitter for the Ball State Cardinals. Ellie Dunn has had to step into that role as well, as Ball State hasn't got as much from Mackenzie Kitchell as they may have liked this season, the redshirt senior, losing Alex Filling from last year's team. Both of these young sophomores have had to step into bigger roles, and Ellie Dunn is just going to have to figure out and kind of thrown into the fire, but Kelly Miller said that she's really unfazed this season, even though she's had to take on that bigger role.
Outside to Irby, goes over the top of two Ball State defenders, but way too deep. Smith is another one of those freshmen, Corey, that Coach Miller told us she's stepped in and has done exactly what she's been expected of. She's never missed a beat.
Exactly, and one thing, if you're a freshman and you want to get some playing time, especially for a team like the Ball State Cardinals that have a lot of depth, serve the ball efficiently. And Hannah Smith has done exactly that, serves the ball incredibly efficiently at 89%, doesn't commit many service errors, and at the same point, in the back row defensively, she's a great back row defender and a great reception percentage as well.
It's Rojeski, the setter, to serve for Eastern Michigan. Mangapora cross court, it bounces on the line. The third kill for Mangapora early on to lead the way for Ball State.
Ball State last night versus Central Michigan got a lot of contribution from Brooklyn Goodsell and Sabrina Magnapora. They both got hot in the first set. Sabrina Magnapora going forward, Ball State definitely wants to get her more involved in the offense and definitely wants to fuel the fire moving forward in sets 2 and 3.
It's now Irby, she goes cross court. Kept alive by Avila, quick set to DeVoe, puts it down the sideline.
We talked about players having to step into bigger roles. Avery DeVoe is definitely a player that had to step into a bigger role. Both the starting middle blockers for the Ball State Cardinals gone from last year, and DeVoe has stepped in without missing a beat, and she's been a big presence defensively, and she shows you what she can do on the offensive end as well when given the chance.
She had only 5 kills all of last season. Entering today, she has 52. He had 2 more to her total, so 54 already. And we're only in the second match of conference play. Mangapora splits 2 Eastern Michigan defenders, but it's kept alive in the back. Back to Mangapora. Gets the kill this time, her 4th. The lead for Ball State extends 20-18. Seaman, the true freshman setter for Ball State. Quick tap over the net, and it splits all of the defenders for Eastern Michigan, drops right down in the middle.
Seaman rarely winds up for a quick hit. She almost always acts like she's going to set the ball until the very last moment, and then ends up just pushing it over, just like she did if she sees an opening in the defense.
3 straight points for Ball State gives them a 21-18 lead, and a timeout quickly called by head coach Kimmy Olsen for Eastern Michigan. For the first time tonight, we check in with our sideline reporter, Allison Luthman.
Now these two teams are each other's competition tonight, but they also have connections outside of the court. BSU head coach Kelly Miller and Eastern Michigan's head coach Kimmy Olsen played Muncie and volleyball together at the age of 10, remained friends ever since, and are now both the heads of their own program.
Thanks, Allison. And Cora, that's something we talked with head coach Kelly Miller earlier this season, earlier this week, and she had told us that both of them being newer coaches, being young coaches, and having to guide such a young team, that they kind of bounce ideas off of each other and keep in touch quite often.
Exactly, and you can see it from our shots earlier in the pregame. They've just chatting it up, acting like they haven't missed a beat. They're good friends, and it's a good competition. And also, I love the idea of you don't always have to be competitors against one another. And even though you play each other twice a year, Kelly Miller and Kimmy Olsen both bouncing off of ideas of each other, and both of them had very successful college careers. Not only did they play together in travel ball, Kimmy Olsen winning a national championship, and Kelly Miller, the career leader in digs at Purdue University.
It's Ball State 21, Eastern Michigan 18. 3 lead changes and 5 ties so far in the first set. The biggest lead has been 4 by Ball State, as they now equal that with a service ace by Seaman. That's her 19th ace, more than double anybody else on Ball State this season. Majeski outside to Smith, blocked at the net. Quick tap over the net, and it bounces between Avila and Seaman for Ball State. From Ball State's best server now to Eastern Michigan's best server, Ferguson leads the Eagles with 12 aces this season.
The amazing part about those 12 aces is that she's only had 4 service errors, so doesn't always have to go with the power serve. We saw Jordan Beater, one of the best servers in the MAC last night against Central Michigan against Ball State, but Beater committed a lot of service errors. On the other end, Kelly Ferguson is very efficient with her serve and leads the team in aces.
Seaman back set to Goodsell in the back row. The second kill of the night for Goodsell. Ball State up 4 again, 23-19.
I like the idea from Seaman trying to get Brooklyn Goodsell involved late in this set. They have a 23-19 lead right now, so why not try to give Goodsell some momentum moving forward throughout the rest of the match?
Goodsell is the current MAC West Offensive Player of the Week, and she's been continuing that hot spurt with 20 kills last night, 2 so far in the first set. Quick tap over the net. Seaman dives and makes the save. Goodsell again, unable to get there, is Schomer, the libero for Eastern Michigan. Ball State has its largest lead of the night. It's 5, and we now have set point. It's Schreiner to serve for Ball State. Mentioned already the 3 aces last night. Had a lot of success from that spot against Central Michigan.
And Eastern Michigan's a team that struggles returning serves as well. One of the worst teams in the Mid-American Conference at reception percentage.
And directly into the net. The second service error for Schreiner tonight. But Ball State still does have 4 more set points to work with. The Cardinals this year 4-1 when they win set 1. Into the net, another service error, and that's it for set 1. A 25-20 win for Ball State. They fell behind early, able to storm back to take set 1 25-20. We'll have set 2 on the other side of this break. Ball State opens tonight's match with a set 1 win, 25-20 on top of Eastern Michigan. You see head coach in her first season, Kelly Miller there. She took over for Steve Shondell, who spent the last 6 seasons as the head coach of Ball State, 119-68 record. He coached at Muncie Burris, where, catch this, he won 1,183 games, losing just 95, Corey.
Incredible win percentage, and to do it at such a small school like Muncie Burris, it really speaks to the type of coaching that Steve Shondell brings, and he learned it a lot from his father, Don Shondell, who's a legendary coach for the men's volleyball team at Ball State University. And it's really incredible to see that also it just came out in the news today that Steve Shondell may be going back to Don Shondell to help out in Muncie Burris coaching.
21 state titles, 4 national championships. Let's take a quick break, or take a quick look back at the set 1 highlights.
Well, Ball State got off to a quick start, and Ellie Dunn had some trouble with attacking errors in that first set, but also had some success killing the ball. And then late in the set, it was really Sabrina Magnapora and Brooklyn Goodsell that got it going. Definitely an area that Ball State wants to attack moving forward, as both those outside positions are strong for the Cardinals.
Mangapora led the way with 4 kills in that first set, 3 more from Goodsell. Those two have been leading the way for Ball State almost all season long. Ball State 4-1 this season when winning set number 1. Eastern Michigan, on the other hand, just 1-8 when losing the first set. Amber Seaman there, the true freshman setter, 10 assists through the first set. She's coming off of one of her best performances of the season last night against Central Michigan. Just missed out on a near triple-double. 57 assists, 12 digs, and 7 kills.
And the 7 kills and 57 assists were career highs for Amber Seaman in her true freshman year. So an area that Amber Seaman was looking for heading into the Mid-American Conference season opener, and definitely produced for the Ball State Cardinals, as she was able to pick up those career highs and had a fantastic match.
We're set for set 2 now between Ball State and Eastern Michigan. Ball State won set 1 last night against Central Michigan, also won set 2, but then dropped the next 2 before finally taking the decisive 5th set by a final score of 15-11. It's Riley Taylor, the freshman setter for Eastern Michigan, to serve. Mangapore in the middle, a quick tap over. Smith on the outside between 2 Ball State defenders, point Eastern Michigan.
We saw a lot of Smith in set 1, and it looks like Riley Taylor, that's who she focused on when she was in the set early in set number 1 for Eastern Michigan, and she goes right back to Jordan Smith.
Taylor last night had a double-double for her first time this season, 26 assists and 11 digs for the freshman setter. She hails out of Perry Meridian High School. Schreiner to serve now for Ball State. Smith again blocked by Goodsell at the net, but 2 wide. So another kill for Smith. That gives her 4, ties her with Ferguson for the team high.
A lot of times an outside hitter is taught when there are 2 blockers at the net, or even 3 blockers at the net. Sometimes you want to just aim high and try to get that tip. That time she just hit it so hard that Brooklyn Goodsell and Magnapora, who are over there, could not pick up the block.
Goodsell on the outside, deflected at the net. Net violation called on DeVoe for Ball State, so Eastern Michigan extends a 2-point lead early in set 2. Back set to Goodsell. Too long. Looking for a touch, but none detected.
Eastern Michigan seems like they're starting off set number 2 just the way Ball State did in set number 1 with an early lead, and it gave Ball State enough momentum to end up closing out set number 1, 25-21.
Back to Goodsell, same result. 2 consecutive attack errors now for Goodsell. Eastern Michigan's up 5-1. And you can see Seaman continuously going back to Goodsell regardless of the past couple possessions where she's had errors. And that's something that Kelly Miller told us, Corey, the comfort that Brooklyn Goodsell now has with Amber Seaman, the setter. And that's a large reason why Goodsell has been having such a good past couple of weeks as she goes long again.
Well, she's been having a good past couple of weeks, obviously struggling here early in set number 2. But I think that Brooklyn Goodsell is even emerging as the top target over Sabrina Magnapura at that outside hitter position for the Cardinals.
Eastern Michigan jumps all over Ball State in set 1, 6-1. Eastern Michigan jumps out to a 6-1 lead in set 2 over Ball State, and a large reason why, Corey, Jordan Smith, the sophomore outside hitter.
Well, already has 4 kills tonight. Hasn't been the most efficient, but she's had 15 attacks already early in set number 2. And has 3 errors on the night, but they continue to prove with the next highest attacker only at 8 attacks on the night that Jordan Smith is the person that's going to be attacking the ball for the Eagles.
Done directly into 2 Eastern Michigan defenders. Point to Eastern Michigan, and now the Eagles on a 7-0 run.
Schreiner has struggled back in the back row, and now you see Bailey Baumer come in for Lauren Schreiner. Definitely a defensive substitution, as Kelly Miller has seen Lauren Schreiner struggle in the back row. And at this point for the Ball State Cardinals, with Eastern Michigan pulling away, they need a play soon, or else this set's just going to get out of hand.
Not the best of passes from Baumer there. Went directly over to the Eastern Michigan side, able to put it down. A 9-1 lead now. Kept alive by Eastern Michigan. A free ball sent over. Outside to Dunn. Back set, Murray. Kept alive by Seaman on the diving save. A joust at the net, over to Eastern Michigan. Sutton kept alive by Avila, but out of bounds. Eastern Michigan, the 10-1 lead.
It looked like even the last attack from Eastern Michigan was traveling out of bounds. Avila ended up saving it, and kind of sucks the life out of Ball State when you seem like you have a point if the attacker hit the ball out of bounds. Instead, the true freshman libero saves it from going out of bounds and pushes it out of bounds herself.
Another Eastern Michigan block, and the Eagles have a 10-point lead.
And now you're seeing Kelly Miller just adjust mid-game on the fly and throwing in different faces, seeing if someone can possibly give the Ball State team a spark. This time Mackenzie Kitchell checking in at the outside hitter position.
Seaman back to Goodsell, deflected at the net, but it goes down. The 5th kill now for Goodsell tonight. So after 10 consecutive points run off by Eastern Michigan, Ball State finally gets the side out, and it's DeVoe to serve. Back serve on the slide. Goodsell with a free ball over to Eastern Michigan. Outside to Sutton, quick tap over. Seaman keeps it alive, but bounces out.
And it started with the Ball State passing in the back row. This whole run in the first part of set number 2, Eastern Michigan's continue to rattle off points because Ball State can't seem to get in system with their passing.
At our first media timeout in the first set, Corey, Eastern Michigan was hitting 037. Now here in set 2, it's already up to 204.
Well, they've seemed to find something in Ball State's defense. They're not getting really 2 blockers at the net for the Cardinals. They're mixing up looks. They've gone to the middle and the outside with Jordan Smith and Devin Murray getting involved, both the outside hitters for the Eagles, and miscommunication for the Cardinals as well.
Quick tap over by Holland. It's Kitchell on the outside. Sails too long, point Eastern Michigan. And that quickly prompts another timeout by first-year head coach Kelly Miller. Eastern Michigan 4, Ball State 2. Early on in set number 2, we sent it down to Allison Luthman.
We're sitting at 1-0 Ball State. Sabrina Mangapora absolutely making an impact for the Cardinals. She joined the program in 2013 as a redshirt. She had to sit out, the next year she was awarded to MAC All-Freshman Team and Second Team All-MAC. Had to sit out last year due to an injury, but she's already leading the team in kills this year with 167.
Thank you, Allison. And Corey, that's something that Coach Miller talked with us about Sabrina Mangapora, was gave her one of the most ultimate compliments that you could give somebody in sports, and said the best thing about Mangapora is the fact that she is just a natural competitor.
And I think that speaks to the volume in which she's played this season, because also Kelly Miller told us that they were unsure of her status coming into this year with a torn labrum last year. Any injury in the shoulder area is huge in volleyball, and so you have to swing that arm, especially if you're an outside hitter. And so Sabrina Mangapora, it shows to her work ethic that she's just been a true competitor and come back from that injury strong as ever and leading this team in kills.
A second team All-MAC member as a freshman, and then of course sat out all of last year with that torn labrum. But now as a redshirt junior has come out and taken off where she left off in her freshman season. It's Schomer, the libero, to serve for Eastern Michigan. Blocked at the net. Already the third block this set for Eastern Michigan.
If you're Ball State at this point in the set, it's almost as if you're trying to create momentum for set 3, because it's all Eastern Michigan so far. They've had 2 blockers at the net almost every opportunity, and it seems like no attacker for Ball State can get anything past this defense.
Sutton on the outside. A quick set to Holland. Picked up by Eastern Michigan. This time a block at the net. It's Goodsell for Ball State.
You can tell Brooklyn Goodsell getting a little frustrated, because after that block that she finally got, it definitely shows the emotion and trying to get the Ball State Cardinals fired up. But she's been frustrated in set number 2 with a lot of attacking errors.
Goodsell, the offensive player of the week, showing she can do it on the defensive side as well. And for the first time this set, Ball State gets 2 consecutive points.
And sometimes frustration can almost set a player back. But in some cases, if you're a real competitor, if you're more of a primetime performer, like Brooklyn Goodsell definitely is, she can use that to her advantage, in the frustration, a little bit more fire in her eyes, and drawing the Cardinals back into the set.
Seaman, the quick tap over the net, gets the point, and that's not something we usually see from her, but we've seen it a couple times now already tonight, Corey. Seaman, more of the facilitating type setter where she sets up for the rest of her teammates on offense, but taking it more into her own hands a little bit tonight.
And sometimes a setter has to do that. If none of the outside hitters can get anything going on the attacking end, like in this set number 2, none of the Ball State attackers have got anything going, so sometimes the setter kind of takes that role and puts it upon themselves to start attacking and mixing things up on the offensive end.
Eastern Michigan gets the side out on the Ferguson kill. She has 5. That ties her with Sutton for team high. It's Rajeski to serve. Seaman back set to Holland on the slide. Quick tap over the net, kept alive. Kitchell a joust at the net. her first kill of the night.
Kitchell, before she jumped up to attack that ball, looked at the defense for Eastern Michigan, assessed the weakness, and not a lot of power on that hit, a finesse attack, but it went right into the back right corner where no one was, where the area was vacant.
Her numbers might not be exactly where she wants them to be in her senior season, but Kelly Miller told us that she's the most vocal and most organized person on this team.
And being a redshirt senior, she's been through and seen a lot of things transferring from Cincinnati. She's even seen 2 systems. And so I think she can definitely be a player to help younger players and mentor them on this Ball State team. And also dealing with the type of injury that Mackenzie Kitchell had a few years back at the torn ACL. She was a big mentor for Sabrina Magnapora last year when she had the torn labrum sitting out all year.
Seaman to Magnapora in the middle. Back row attack from Sutton. Swing Magnapora. Rajeski dives and keeps it alive. Avila to Magnapora, blocked but out of bounds. Magnapora, her 5th kill, that ties her with Goodsell, foremost on Ball State. Eastern Michigan's lead is still 10, 17-7. The freshman libero Avila to serve. And Smith directly into the net.
And as I stated earlier, Ball State looking for momentum moving into set number 3. They've definitely found at least something that they can attack on this Eastern Michigan defense, because before, early in set number 2, when it was 14-2, nothing was getting by the Eastern Michigan defense. They had 2 blockers at the net on every attacking opportunity for Ball State, but Ball State trying to creep back in this set, but it's more momentum moving forward for the rest of the match.
A net violation on Ball State, point to Eastern Michigan. Magnapora 2 wide on the attack. Colin Kennedy into the match for the first time tonight, as Seaman, the freshman setter, will take a seat on the bench.
And it seemed as though Seaman was struggling almost on every attack for the Ball State Cardinals. Sometimes it's not the attacker's fault, and sometimes if you look at the setter, if you look at the feet of the attacker, it's usually a good tell whether the setter put it on the money, because I've seen Sabrina Magnapora and Brooklyn Goodsell, both the outside hitters for the Cardinals, have to adjust right before they jump up for the attack, and it doesn't get as much power, doesn't generate as much. So trying McCullen Kennedy at that setter position for the Cardinals, a little bit more experience.
Kennedy over the outside. Magnapora sends a free ball over to Eastern Michigan. Hamby off the deflection. It's her first kill tonight, and Eastern Michigan is up 11, 20-9.
McCullen Kennedy obviously not where she wanted that ball to go to Sabrina Magnapora on that last set. One thing that Ball State does substitute when checking out Amber Seaman is a very good setter, very good defender at the setter position. McCullen Kennedy a little bit taller and not as athletic as Seaman in the back row.
Magnapora on the outside. It's blocked at the net, but Avila keeps it alive on the dive. Murray off the deflection in between 2 Ball State defenders. The most lopsided win that Eastern Michigan has had in a set this season was 25-14 against Delaware State back on August 27th, so that's 11 points. Right now it sits at a 12-point lead.
And against a Mid-American Conference opponent, definitely momentum changing if you're Eastern Michigan, knowing that you can blow a team out in a set like Ball State.
Service error as it sailed just too long. It's Bomber into serve for Ball State. An ace for Bomber there. Just the 3rd ace. Outside to Smith, a soft tap over. Kennedy back set to Goodsell, blocked at the net. Goodsell a second try, this time quickly over. The off-speed attack gives her her 6th kill of the night. Three consecutive points for Ball State. Trims the lead to 9, but it's been all Eastern Michigan in set 2, Corey.
It has, and Eastern Michigan's done it on the defensive end, and in these past few points, though, Ball State able to find some different looks, but so far, Eastern Michigan has sent 2 blockers to the net. Almost every opportunity that Ball State has gotten has been trying to hit the ball around 2 defenders, and it's an adjustment that Eastern Michigan made from set 1 to set 2, and it's going to be a chess match for the rest of the match to see if Kelly Miller, Ball State's head coach, can make some adjustments in between sets 2 and 3.
Kitchell on the outside gets the kill, and that's something that Coach Miller told us earlier this week, is whoever sets the tone is going to have a great chance in the end. And Ball State set the tone early, but here in set 2, it's been the exact opposite. It's been Eastern Michigan all over Ball State, but an ace there for Ball State pulls them within 8.
And with the intermission in between sets 2 and 3, it's almost a collective who sets the tone in sets 1 and 2. So the intermission, Ball State's not going in happy into the intermission thinking that they set the tone in set 1. They're looking at set number 2 and thinking that they missed opportunities. Eastern Michigan, on the other hand, is going into the intermission very happy with their performance in set number 2. They pretty much rule out set number 1 as a fluke and go in thinking that they made the right adjustments into this match.
Would you agree that on the road you almost always have to split the first 2 sets if you want to have a good chance?
It's very difficult and a very low percentage if you are going to come back on an opponent's floor. We saw Central Michigan just last night against Ball State on Ball State's floor. Central Michigan was down 2 sets, came back 2, but then was unable to finish the 5th set. It's just hard in general to come back from 2 sets down, because even if you get 2 sets, you have to put that last one together.
Eastern Michigan able to put away Ball State, 25-14 win. That ties for their biggest lopsided win in a set this season. We'll have Allison Luthman on the other side of this break for intermission. Tied 1-1 between Ball State and Eastern Michigan.
We're now 1-1 Ball State versus Eastern Michigan volleyball. Now, if you look at match leaders and assists, Ball State's freshman Amber Seaman is absolutely undisputed. She talks more about that experience here in this conference preview package.
They already had great chemistry. They've known each other for a while, but I think like me coming in kind of a leadership role and being able to connect with everybody pretty well, like that just like does wonders for me on the court and off the court.
It just shows that we're getting better, but it still shows how much better we need to get. Because, yeah, we're winning, but they're 4 and 5 set matches when we could be winning in 3, which is our goal. So we still got a lot of work to do.
I definitely think coming in the spring helped because that just got me like used to the college game. It's a totally different level, but like also like being able to play with, because we're such a young team, being able to play with these girls for the next like 2 or 3 years, like that's gonna make our connections really stronger.
I definitely think like the connection on the court and just the flow of the game, because it's not just me, like the whole team has been playing at a higher level and just like progressing through the weeks. It's not changing our mindset on anything. We're still trying to be just like very even keel as a team and like energy-wise, just momentum-wise.
Just keep doing what we're doing. I mean, we have started a good trend here the past 5 games. Like, yeah, we lost to Ohio State, but that was like a good match. We could have even taken a set off of them. We should have, but we just know, like, we know like the standard that we need to play at, and our standard is going to keep getting higher and higher.
We're 1-1 match score. Coming back after the break, find out what's to come for Ball State Sports Link. Welcome back. Ball State, Eastern Michigan volleyball on ESPN3. Ball State took the first set. Eastern Michigan absolutely dominating the second. We're going to take a look at Ball State Sports League. It's an interactive, immersive learning opportunity. They are the first school in the country to have a digital sports production program. Alumni are the SEC Network, Indiana Pacers, IndyCar, Indianapolis Colts, and Webstream Sports. They have over 70 national, state, and local awards to their names, including 11 regional Emmy Awards and 3 professional Emmys. Students in the Ball State Sports Link program are producing 81 live broadcasts now, including tonight, through December of 2016. Coming up in Sports Link, members travel to St. Louis, Missouri with football's Teddy Williamson to get a deeper look at the man behind the field. Baseball's Roman Besa tells us one of the most tragic days that has changed his life forever after recovering from an accident. Basketball's Taylor Person goes back home to Kokomo, Indiana after a devastating tornado tore through the city. organized cleanup efforts, which included more than 300 volunteers that day helping with cleanup efforts. Also, check out SportsLink Game Day every home game before kickoff with exclusive interviews and stories. And for more stories and news like this, follow at BSU SportsLink on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. We'll be right back after the break with Noah Reed and Corey Stace for more volleyball on ESPN3.
Welcome back inside Worthen Arena. Ball State took set one 25-20, but it was all Eastern Michigan in set two, 25-14 win for the Eagles. Corey, that's knotted us up at 1 apiece.
Yeah, the Eastern Michigan Eagles came back with a roar in set number 2. Kelly Ferguson leads the team with 6 kills, but Alyssa Sutton, a name that we didn't see much in set number 1, really dominated in set number 2, ended with 5 kills through the first 2 sets. Ball State got out to an early lead in the first set. A lot of the times it started with the defense and then transitioned more to the outside attackers in Sabrina Magnapora and Brooklyn Goodsell, but in set number 2, it was all Eastern Michigan's defense that really plagued the Ball State Cardinals. They could not hit around the 2 blockers that Eastern Michigan presented.
We're set for set 3 action, tied at 1 apiece. In 4 set matches this season, Eastern Michigan is 4-2. Ball State, on the other hand, just 2-3.
We'll have to see what adjustments both teams make heading into the intermission, because although Eastern Michigan dominated set number 2, if you're Kimmy Olsen, you can't go into the intermission thinking that there are no adjustments needed to be made, and you have to expect adjustments from the Cardinals and then on the fly create mismatches for the Eastern Michigan Eagles, because you know that Kelly Miller went into the intermission thinking, how do we hit around the 2 blockers? How do we get solo blocks instead of 2 people at the net at all times on our attacks?
Anna Smith, the true freshman to serve to start set 3. What kind of adjustments do you think Kelly Miller did make in that intermission?
Well, I think one thing that she would have to do is talk to Amber Seaman. She struggled through the first 2 sets, and maybe try to mix it around for the Ball State Cardinals, not just Brooklyn Goodsell and Sabrina Magnapora. We're seeing Meg Starling start off set number 2. We saw Avery DeVoe in sets 1 and 2, but Amber Seaman liked the outside of hitters in sets 1 and 2. Maybe try go more to the middle blockers in their attacking on the offensive end.
Just like the first 2 sets tonight, Eastern Michigan gets the first point. Magnapora down in the back row.
But then at the same time, you can't shy away from your strengths, and Sabrina Magnapora and Brooklyn Goodsell are the 2 best attackers on this team, and if they're your outside hitters, continue to go to them, but just try to mix in a little bit more of the middle blockers that we did not see in sets 1 and 2.
Ferguson cross court. A scramble for Ball State on the defensive side. The point goes to Eastern Michigan. Sutton back to serve. Van Beek deflected, point Ball State.
Well, we saw Van Beek last night against the Central Michigan Chippewas for the Cardinals. She did come in sets 4 and 5 and provided a little life in that middle blocker position, provided more attacking amongst the middle blockers than most you would see for the Ball State Cardinals. Avery DeVoe, Emily Holland, some of the bigger bodies, more known for their defense. Sydney Van Beek is more known for her offense at that middle blocker position.
Seaman serves for Ball State, a double-double last night, a career-high 57 assists to go along with 12 digs. Attack error for Smith, and Ball State extends the lead to 2 early on.
In both sets so far tonight, it's been the team that got out to the early start in each set that has ended up taking.
Majeski chases it down, keeps it alive, and Smith sends a free ball over. Mangapora, another kill, her 7th, team high.
Mangapora 2 times consecutively now that she's went cross court with her attack. It seems like maybe that's the strategy they'll use to try and beat these blockers. They kept going down the line into the 2 blockers. Now they're trying to just flat out avoid them and go cross court and make the liberos and back row defenders dig the ball up in the back.
Back row attack violation on Eastern Michigan. So Ball State on a 5-0 run right now with a 6-2 lead. It's been Seaman serving for all 5 points. Coach Kelly Miller told us earlier this week, Corey, that the reason Seaman is so good is she's a perfectionist. She watches the game, studies, and wants to be good.
And that's exactly what it takes for a true competitor and a true freshman to come into a system like this at Ball State University, a university with a lot of program prestige, to come in as a true freshman setter. It takes some skill at the first part of it, but then also it takes some dedication, and she's shown that dedication watching over the film, seeing what areas that she needs to get better at as a setter, and just getting more comfortable with her attackers.
On the slide, Van Beek blocked, but Goodsell keeps it alive. Smith outside, deflected by Van Beek. Another kill for Smith, that gives her 5 on the evening.
Even though 2 blockers were there for the Ball State Cardinals, it's a point we touched on earlier where Jordan Smith just aims high and tries to hit the tip of the fingers on the 2 blockers. That time was able to snip Van Beek's finger.
2 possessions, 2 kills for Smith. Eastern Michigan pulls within 1.
Smith's really the only power attacker that we've seen for Eastern Michigan tonight. A lot of the other girls are going finesse with their attacks. Smith just winds up on the outside and prominently has been placed on the left side mostly, and that's where she's had success.
Ball State gets the side out after 3 consecutive Eastern Michigan points. For the first time tonight, we see Jensen serving for the Cardinals. Saw her in 2 sets last night. Both times she came in as just a serving specialist. Kitchell with the solo block.
Kitchell, a bit of a taller outside attacker, will definitely provide defense for the Ball State Cardinals at that outside hitter position. That time was left on an island over on the right side, but still able to get her palms on it.
With Jensen checking in tonight, it's 15 Ball State Cardinals who have seen action in the match.
Kelly Miller has just continued to try and show Eastern Michigan different looks. It was a huge part in set number 2 that Kelly Miller went to almost every girl that she had available on her bench to try and create some sort of spark. Didn't really even happen at the end of set number 2. But in set number 3, she obviously saw something from these players, like a Mackenzie Kitchell, an outside hitter that we saw in set number 2, to move forward with her in set number 3 and give her more playing time, as we haven't seen her in the past few matches.
Van Beek serving. Meg Starling checks in for Ball State, so now it's 16 Cardinals who have seen action, and Eastern Michigan has sent just as many out to the floor, almost 13.
Well, this time Smith up against 2 blockers again, and once again she loves to go high. Even if there's 2 blockers there, she'll try and adjust her attack based on how many blockers are at the net, and she always goes with that power attack and can also do it in the serving category.
An ace there for Smith. That's now 7 on the season for the sophomore. Eastern Michigan pulls within 1. Ball State's lead is 9-8. Falco blocked, but off of Ball State. It's tied up at 9.
You're starting to see what we saw in set 2 for the Ball State Cardinals, getting out of system. That time it was Brooklyn Goodsell with a bad pass, didn't get it to Seaman, and Meg Starling ended up having to bump it back to Goodsell for the attack. Not as much power on the attack, and ruins the whole system and gives Eastern Michigan a great opportunity offensively.
A free ball over. Seaman quick set. Starling with her first kill tonight.
Meg Starling, only her 14th kill on the year, even when she has seen action this year for the Ball State Cardinals, only in her 21st set of the season. She hasn't really been a target offensively, and that's something we talked about. An adjustment that Ball State maybe needs to make is, instead of going to the outside hitters where their strengths are, mix it up and go to the middle. That time, Meg Starling, none of the Eastern Michigan defenders were expecting.
Seaman, the attacker herself, gets it down in the right corner.
You can definitely see the volleyball IQ from Amber Seaman, always analyzing the defense, trying to find a weakness. That time found it in the back right corner where the area was vacant.
Back row attack. And kill for Smith. Eastern Michigan has won the last 3 matches between these two schools. The last time Ball State defeated Eastern Michigan came almost 2 years ago, October 3rd of 2014. Starling in the middle. Back set to Murray, and it's off the face of Seaman.
A bit more of a back and forth set than we saw in sets 1 and 2. Eastern Michigan has been able to respond, continuing to be aggressive on the outside, attacking the ball, even though Ball State has shored up things defensively from what we saw in the set number 2.
Net violation on Eastern Michigan. Ball State regains the 1-point lead.
Kitchell's definitely been a bright spot for Ball State in set number 3. Not seeing as much action. It's tough to keep that mindset and dominance and confidence in your game if you're Mackenzie Kitchell. Has not played in all of the sets, being a redshirt senior in any of the last 4 matches. She started early in the year and even got significant playing time on last year's team that had a lot more talent on the outside with their attackers. And this year it seems as though younger players have passed her up, but when given the opportunity tonight against Eastern Michigan, she's taken advantage.
Outside to Sutton. Now Mangapora down the line. 8 kills now for Mangapora. That leads the team and ties her with Jordan Smith for match high. Avila dives to keep it alive, but point to Eastern Michigan.
Even though Eastern Michigan is having more success attacking the ball in set number 3, it seems as though it's always a tip at the net from the Ball State defense. They're getting blockers in position, but it's the back row after the block initiates. Kate Avila wasn't able to dive out and get her hand on that ball.
Mangapora blocked by 2 defenders. Now Goodsell on the backside. Quick set into Starling. Hamby with the quick tip over. Mangapora swing. Mangapora from the back row. It's blocked, but it goes down on Eastern Michigan's side. 9th kill now tonight for the junior.
And even though at that outside hitter position on the left side, this time comes right up behind Meg Starling. So the blockers jumped a little bit too early because there's still that threat of Meg Starling in the middle, and Sabrina Magnapora, after the Meg Starling fake, was able to come up right behind, not a back row attacker, so was able to come across that back line and get a powerful swing into those blockers' hands.
It's Kate Avila, the true freshman out of nearby Yorktown. Back row attack. Quickly over to Van Beek, gets down right in front of the sideline. Point Ball State, that extends the lead to 3, 15-12. Tied one set apiece. We're halfway through set number 3. Ball State 15, Eastern Michigan 12. After it was all Eastern Michigan in set 2, Ball State has responded in a big way after the intermission, a 15-12 lead here in set 3, a large part due to Sabrina Magnapora, Corey.
Magnapora's came alive, and Amber Seaman has been able to find her in different positions on the court. So even when she's out of rotation to the left side, she's still able to find her in the middle, on the outside, and it's giving Eastern Michigan defense a different thing to consider.
Attack sails long, and Ball State has the largest lead of this set, 16-12. The true freshman continues to serve. Rajeski, quick set. Ferguson denied at the net. Point Cardinals.
Sydney Van Beek has really provided a spark for the Cardinals at that middle blocker position, has been able to assess the defense, find some holes offensively, and then showing it off defensively on that last play. The only player in the middle, but was able to get her hands on it and force Eastern Michigan into a scramble offensively.
Already 3 kills tonight for Van Beek. Again, to Van Beek, kept alive by Eastern Michigan in the back row. Deflected at the net, off the block.
The good part for the Cardinals is they continue to get the blockers there present. Even though these kills are going down on Ball State's side, 2 blockers present there in Seaman and Van Beek. They were still able to get a touch on it. It just ricocheted off the wrong way.
Off the block, Magnapora with the kill. That's her 10th. That gives her double figures in 6 of the last 7 matches. And so how about this, Corey? Ball State has won 5 of the last 6 matches. Coming in tonight, Magnapora had double-figure kills in 5 of the last 6. The thing that's in common, Ball State lost to Ohio State. Magnapora was not in double figures against Ohio State.
Well, Ball State needs offensively to have their top attacker performing well, and tonight we've seen it from Sabrina Magnapora, definitely in set number 3. Amber Seaman has forced Sabrina Magnapora the ball, even if she's going through some pains at the start of this match with some errors. Brooklyn Goodsell hasn't been targeted as much in set number 3, and we're starting to see Sabrina Magnapora arise as that top target, at least in this match. Brooklyn Goodsell was definitely the top target for the Cardinals in last match, and that speaks to the Cardinals' depth that they can have different top targets on any given night.
Point to Ball State on the reception error. 20-13 Cardinals lead. It's the freshman Seaman, the setter for Ball State, serving. How much do you attribute her success to knowing that she had big shoes to fill with Jenna Spadafora, the setter for the last 2 seasons for Ball State, graduating?
Well, I think that she had big shoes to fill in Jenna Spadafora, the 2-time setter for the Ball State Cardinals in the past 2 seasons. But Amber Seaman has really come in, and not only has she been an effective setter from a skills position standpoint, but she's taken a leadership role on this team, and you see it in between points, getting the other players fired up out on the floor. And I think it's a big attribution to her enrolling early in Ball State University classes. In the spring of 2016, she had an extra semester to gel with some of her attackers, and that's been a difference in the appearance that we've seen from Amber Seaman, because she credits a lot of that having that extra semester to gel with some of the players both on and off the court.
Good sell on the attack. And Schomer keeps it alive with the dive. Quick set in the middle. Van Beek, another kill.
Sometimes it just works out, and that time Van Beek didn't get a good swing on it at all. Looks like from the replay standpoint, it just comes off the total right side of her hand, but able to push it enough over the net to end up pushing it into the blocker's hands.
22-14, the Ball State lead as Kimmy Olson, the second-year head coach of Eastern Michigan, calls timeout. We check in with sideline reporter Allison Luthman.
Ball State leading the second set. Kelly Ferguson contributing heavily for Eastern Michigan. She leads the team in sets played and aces. On the receiving end of those serves for Ball State, a name we heard a lot this year already, Kay Avila, who was named MAC West Division Defensive Player of the Week last week.
Eastern Michigan tonight. She's a junior but a transfer from Austin Peay, so it's her first year with this Eastern Michigan club, and she's somebody that head coach Kimmy Olson said she's extremely confident, she has a lot of experience, and she really filled a void when Eastern Michigan graduated so many seniors a year ago.
And especially at that middle blocker position, Kelly Ferguson has been just a consistent, steady player for Eastern Michigan. And with such a young team, even when you're a transfer, if you're a junior in classes and different involvement, you have that extra experience, even transferring from Austin Peay, you're able to come in and provide leadership into a program of young, skilled players. And Kelly Ferguson has been consistent, played in every set this season, and also shows the players what it's all about playing in volleyball. And really, she's limiting the mistakes and forcing the other opponents to make the mistakes, and that's exactly how you have to play the game.
Ferguson also named the College of Charleston All-Tournament team just 3 weekends ago. Van Beek cross court for her 6th kill, 3rd of the set.
Van Beek has just come alive for Ball State in that middle blocker position, and maybe even matches moving forward in Mid-American Conference play, you could see her more involved, because Ball State started off with Avery DeVoe and Emily Holland in this match, but Sydney Van Beek has come in set number 3 and showed that why she deserves some extra playing time at that middle blocker position, has provided it both offensively and defensively.
Van Beek 6 kills on just 8 attempts tonight. Her previous career high was 3 coming in tonight, so she's doubled that number. Irby off the deflection.
Off the block, a touchdown, point Eagles.
Eastern Michigan pulls within 8, 23-15. The Cardinals and the Eagles tied 1 set apiece.
And one thing for Van Beek is that she has a better attacking percentage than some of the rest of the middle blockers on this Cardinals team. The middle blocker should be the best attacking percentage on the team, less likelihood of error and more court to work with when you're attacking the ball. And also, normally when you go to the middle blocker, it's throwing the defense off guard, so you have a little bit more freedom when attacking the ball, and Van Beek's been able to expose that when Emily Holland and Avery Dunn, the other 2 middle blockers on the Cardinals team, haven't been as effective and had some more errors than Van Beek has.
Back set to Goodsell. And now Ball State has set point. The 7th kill of the evening for Brooklyn Goodsell, coming off of a career-high 20 last night against Central Michigan. The Worthen Arena crowd up to their feet as they normally are during set point. Kitchell deflected at the net, goes down on the Eastern Michigan side. And so after falling 25-14 in the second set, Ball State responds in a big way. 25-15 in set 3. Ball State takes a 2-1 set advantage heading to the fourth set. Welcome back inside Worthen Arena. Ball State a 2-1 lead on top of Eastern Michigan as they look to close it out in set number 4. The biggest bright spot tonight for Eastern Michigan has been the outside hitter, Jordan Smith, 8 kills, a team high.
Well, Jordan Smith has been doing it all for Eastern Michigan. We've talked about her at length tonight for the Eagles and really has that powerful swing. You see it almost on every single one of these highlights. She's a player that doesn't really like to go finesse. She's a player that winds up, and even if you send 1 or 2 blockers at her, she's going to assess the defense before she hits it. There she goes with the finesse attack when she sees it fit, but normally it's just all power pushing it into the Ball State defenders. She's been a big key tonight for Eastern Michigan, and Eastern Michigan, if they want to get themselves back in this match, especially in set number 4, Jordan Smith's a great place to start.
And for Ball State on the other side, we've talked a little bit about just the balance that they've had, especially last night. You got that again tonight. Mangapura leads the way with 10 kills, but then you also have a little bit of balance behind her.
Well, we talked about the depth that Ball State prevents. So Brooklyn Goodsell last night, 20 kills against Central Michigan. Tonight, it's more Sabrina Magnapura that's on the attacking end for Ball State. But then you also have this X factor that you throw in there with Cindy Van Beek, especially in set number 3. Van Beek was all over the floor. It seemed like she wasn't just playing that middle blocker position. It seemed like she impacted the game a lot more than most middle blockers do, and it's fitting to see her in the ball game right now for the Ball State Cardinals to start off set number 4.
There is Sabrina Mangapura, 10 kills tonight. It's the 8th time this season she's been in double figures with kills 24 times in her 2-year career. It'll be Eastern Michigan's serve to start set number 4, and it'll be the freshman setter, Riley Taylor. She's the second setter in the 6-2 offense for Eastern Michigan. Mallory Rajeski is usually the number 1 setter. Back set to Starling, blocked at the net, 2 Eastern Michigan defenders.
And that's where it started in set number 2 when Eastern Michigan just ran away from Ball State, was on the defensive end and setting the tone early in set number 4. Not a lot of a time to adjust since it wasn't the intermission, but Eastern Michigan, you know Kimmy Olsen still had a talking with her team to adjust some things defensively to try and go back to the way it was in set number 2 when the Eagles were dominating.
Murray off the deflection. Eastern Michigan opens set 4 with a 2-0 lead. The service sails too long for the first Ball State point. Ball State 3-3 this season when being up 2-1. Looking to make it 4-3 to keep a perfect MAC record of 2-0. Ball State goes into the net. Point Eastern Michigan. Smith to serve. Quick set to Van Beek in the middle. Eastern's able to keep it alive, but the Eagles go into the net.
In set number 4, it seems like the team that makes less unforced errors. We've seen one from the Cardinals so far, and now one on the other end for the Eagles. It seems like that team will have the leg up in set number 4. And for the Cardinals, they're trying to close out this set early. Already played a 5-set match just last night against Central Michigan. And Brooklyn Goodsell, when we talked to her earlier this week, she said, even though we're on this winning streak of 5 of the last 6, we still feel like we have a lot to work on and a lot to move forward with in the Mid-American Conference season, because some of these matches should be 3-set matches instead of pushing them all the way to 4 and 5 sets.
And another thing she talked about as well was not treating a conference match any different than a non-conference match. She said everything is the same, and sure, with conference you have a little bit more to it, but you have to keep the same mindset going into every match.
Yeah, I think all the players maybe wake up with a little extra step when they wake up in the morning when it's conference play and you're going against a team that you know so well, and maybe even a rival team, with these two teams playing so often within the Mid-American Conference season. But schematically, you have to stay the same, and you just have to improve every single practice and every single match. And if you keep the same schematically throughout the season, but just continue to improve, those are the teams that are going to be the most dangerous come down the stretch.
Goodsell hammers home her 8th kill of the match. It pulls Ball State within 2, and Jensen will see her 2nd action of the night, again as a serving specialist. Irby goes straight down the middle of the Ball State defense.
Irby has been lost a little bit in set 2 and 3, but in set 1, she really came out with some fire. And right there, you see her maybe becoming more of a prominent part in the offense in set number 4, because it's a different look that Ball State hasn't seen since set number 1, coming up through the middle and being very effective. There were no blockers at the net for the Ball State Cardinals.
We've seen Irby a little bit more on the offensive side, like you just mentioned, but she's somebody that head coach Kimmy Olsen pointed out as being one of the best defenders on this Eastern Michigan team.
Well, definitely in the back row, even though she's listed as an outside hitter and can come up through the middle and attack like she just showed on 2 plays ago. Kimmy Olsen said she was not only one of the best defenders, but because she can step back and almost be a defensive specialist when she's in the back row of the rotation at that outside hitter position.
Irby again down the line. This time it's wide left. Ball State ties it up 6-6. Irby's quick tap, and it's now 2 consecutive attack errors for the freshman.
And here's an adjustment that Riley Taylor has to make. Instead of continuing to go to Irby, who's more of a defensive-minded player, likes to stay in the back row and not attack as much, trying to maybe do a quick hit like you just saw, or go more to the middle where they have strengths in Samantha Falco and Kelly Ferguson.
It was a free ball over to Eastern Michigan. Ferguson goes straight down with it. Ball State asked for a net violation, but none was detected. Free ball over to Ball State. Starling sails too long.
The set just a little low, and that's an adjustment that Amber Seaman has to make against the 6'6" Meg Starling. You have to set the ball a little bit higher when you're dealing with that type of size at the middle blocker position. She set it a little too low, and it caused Meg Starling to adjust her swing midair, and it pushed it wide.
2 Eastern blockers at the net, able to reject Kitchell on the outside. Back to Kitchell, lofts it over. Back set, Goodsell, blocked to the net. 2 consecutive blocks for Eastern Michigan. And instead, it looks like we'll have a replay.
Ball State maybe was trying to argue a net violation. I didn't see it on that angle.
Ferguson off the slide. The attack error. Ball State pulls within 1.
Ball State seems to be having trouble attacking the ball as of late in set number 4. They had success early. It looked like a transition just seamlessly right from set 3 where they won 25-16. Had a little bit more trouble, and now seeing 2 blockers at the net for Eastern Michigan like we saw in set number 2 when Eastern Michigan ran away with it.
Kitchell outside, down the line.
The goal for Amber Seaman to end set number 4 and throughout the rest of this match is really to try and mix things up so the Eastern Michigan defense can't get in their ready set position at the net.
A block by Starling gives Ball State the lead. Ball State trailed 9-7, but 3 consecutive points gives them the lead. Smith into blockers, but it goes down on the Ball State side.
2 consecutive power swings. The first one didn't work, so why not, if you're Riley Taylor, the setter, just go right back to Jordan Smith. Another beautiful set. Didn't make Jordan Smith adjust much, and in return, she had another powerful swing at the 2 blockers for Ball State.
10th kill of the evening for Brooklyn Goodsell. That's now 6 consecutive matches in double figures for the former high school All-American. Free ball over to Ball State. Swing Mangapora. Quick tap in the middle. Avila keeps it alive on the dive. But a double contact off Starling.
Both defenses solid there in the back row. Even though the initial tacks were blocked at the net, both back row defenders, both teams rather, their back row defenders able to dive out and create some digs to keep that point alive. But in the end, Avila just not able to get the right touch on it, diving for the dig.
Back set to Murray. Now Mangapore on the outside goes cross court. Good sell from the back row is a scramble for Eastern Michigan. Point Ball State.
I like Amber Seaman's decision to go back row there. We haven't seen it as much in set number 4, and as of late in this match, she's more gone to the front row attackers and the middle blockers and outside hitters, but that time decides to give Brooklyn Goodsell a try in the back row, an area where she really succeeds, and that's why she's so versatile for this Ball State team. At the height that she is, she can attack from almost anywhere on the court.
Nearly half the offenses come from Mangapore and Goodsell. 22 of the 46 kills. Mangapore off the antenna.
Back and forth set. in set number 4, with Eastern Michigan only containing a 1-point lead. It's been very back and forth. Ball State and Eastern Michigan trading the leads, and it seems as though the team with momentum about heading into 20 points is going to be the one that's the most successful.
Kept alive by Eastern Michigan off the deflection. Good sell, back row. Irby. Blocked at the net. Eastern Michigan has rattled off 3 in a row to take a 14-12 lead.
Every time Eastern Michigan this entire match has gone on a run, it has started with the defensive end. It hasn't been that they're forcing these attacks on Ball State and forcing their defense out of system, but instead it's been Ball State getting blocked at the net continuously by 2 defenders.
Again, another block at the net. Ball State keeps it alive. Good sell directly into the net. A 4-0 run for Eastern Michigan gives them a 15-12 lead in set 4, still trailing 2-1. Back inside Worthen Arena, Ball State trying to put away Eastern Michigan, but the Eagles won't go away. 15-12 is the lead in set 4, almost identical down the stat line, Corey.
Well, both teams have been back and forth. Both teams have won a set by significant margin, and then in set number 4, we've seen a lot of back and forth action. And the big number there is the attacking percentages. Neither team is really dominating in that category because both teams' defenses have been the start for both of their offenses. It's the defense that gets the runs going for both of these teams.
Mangapora, and sails just past the out-of-bounds line. Now a 5-0 run for Eastern Michigan. Quick set in the middle. Van Beek. Now Irby down the line off a good sell.
It looked as though on that play, Goodsell pre-positioned her hands up top when it looked like she possibly could have went under and tried to dig the ball up. And Brooklyn Goodsell instead went over top and couldn't handle the aggressive attack.
A timeout quickly called by Kelly Miller. Eastern Michigan has opened up a 5-point lead in set 4, 17-12. We check in with Allison Luthman.
Continuing into the 4th set, Ball State leads 2-1. Now, in series history, Ball State has an edge over the Eagles, 50-26. That being said, in the past 3 games, Eastern Michigan has beat the Cardinals, including last year right here in Worthen Arena.
Allison, this is the 77th meeting between these two teams. Corey, Ball State holds the all-time series 50-26, and inside Worthen Arena even more successful, 22-5. Ball State and Eastern Michigan, this is the second most played series in the history of Ball State volleyball. The only other one ahead of this is Western Michigan.
Both of these teams know each other incredibly well, and for Eastern Michigan, they've won the last 3 meetings. Last year was a big meeting between these two teams. Eastern Michigan needed a win to propel themselves into the Mid-American Conference tournament. They went on to win here in Worthen Arena against Ball State in a 4-set match, and then went on to beat Toledo at Toledo and ended up propelling themselves into the Mid-American Conference tournament and kicking out Central Michigan, who the Ball State Cardinals saw just last night.
And that's something that Coach Olson brought up with me when I talked to her on Wednesday afternoon. Is she brought up that exact match and said that had a lot to do with confidence at the end of the season, and she's hoping you can do something like that again here early on in the conference season, because it's the same exact lineup at Ball State and at Toledo. They went to Toledo last night, at Ball State tonight.
And if you get the 2 wins against any team in the Mid-American Conference, Toledo picked to finish 5th in the Mid-American Conference West Division, so not considered one of the best teams in the Mid-American Conference. But if you can start off conference play 2-0, it's a big boost to your confidence moving forward throughout the rest of the season.
Miscommunication from Eastern Michigan in the back row, and Ball State scores its first point in the last 7, pull within 5, 18-13.
And for both of these teams, it's a big match because Ball State trying to do the same thing that we just talked about. They got the win over Central Michigan last night. They're trying to gain some confidence with a new regime, new head coach in Kelly Miller to move forward with for the rest of the Mid-American Conference play.
Herbie, the attack error on the outside. Ball State's within 4, late in set 4. Seaman, the true freshman. And Mangapora with the kill, her 12th match high.
Ball State's attacking has put Eastern Michigan in some tough situations, backpedaling, not able, just out of the reach of the defenders on these last few plays. And Ball State, a good run to go on at this point in the set, because if you're going to go on a run when you're down 6 points, it has to come earlier rather than later in order to get that confidence and gain some momentum later in the set, because now 18-15, Ball State finds themselves right back in this set, as opposed to waiting until it's about 22-16, then Eastern Michigan would be able to close the set out.
A reception error for Ball State. Eastern Michigan gets the side out and a 4-point lead, 19-15.
Ball State unable to cover in the back row. That time it was Hannah Smith. When Ball State has Kate Avila and Hannah Smith, 2 former liberos in high school, and the libero on this team in Avila, they're very solid in the back row.
Good sell down the line. 12 kills for her. She pulls Ball State within 3. The Cardinals looking to close out Eastern Michigan up 2-1, but the Eagles are trying to fight to live another day. Jensen, the serving specialist. Murray in the middle. Avila dives after it, but deflects off her left hand. Murray, one of just 2 seniors on this Eastern Michigan team. Jensen sends it over, the attack error. Eastern Michigan takes a 5-point lead.
If you're Jensen on that play, it seems as though in the back row when Ball State scrambling on the passing, don't try to put it in a specific area, because Jensen, not an attacker for the Ball State Cardinals. Instead, just put it in the center of the court and try to make Eastern Michigan make the play instead of Ball State making the mistake.
On the floor right now for Ball State, it's 4 freshmen, a sophomore, and a senior. We've talked a lot about a young team, how young Ball State is, with 5 freshmen on this year's team having to come in and contribute. A lot of it has to do with the class of 2016 graduating last year.
A big class for the Ball State Cardinals. Jenna Spadafora, Katie Vasilakis, both incredible at their given position, and that role has to be filled by true freshmen this year in Kate Avila and Amber Seaman. And then also just some huge attackers. Raker, Hopkins filling some great attackers for the Ball State Cardinals. They lost a lot of their attacks and 106 total starts. there's nothing that really can prepare you for that heading into this season. It has to come with these players just being unfazed, like Kelly Miller has talking about, stepping into a much larger role.
The only two players on this Ball State team who have played in all 66 sets this season, the freshman libero Kate Avila and the freshman setter Amber Seaman. How tough is that for two freshmen to be the leader of the offense and the leader of the defense, having to step in for Spatafor and Vasilakis, who had tremendous careers as Ball State Cardinals?
Well, it speaks wonders to both of those players, and Seaman and Avila, that they've played in every single set, and they've been the anchor, as you just said, both on the offensive end and the defensive end for Ball State, and they've been guided by some experience in those outside hitter positions with Brooklyn Goodsell and Sabrina Magnapora, and even Mackenzie Kitchell, the redshirt senior.
Down in between Avila and Jensen. Eastern Michigan's 6-point lead, the largest of set 4. Quick set into the middle, Ferguson with the kill.
Ball State seems like every touch that they're getting close to the net, it almost seems as if the players are just a foot behind the net than they should be, and it seems like Eastern Michigan's able to just push these balls on Ball State's side, and the blocks are becoming ineffective on Ball State's defense.
Kitchell goes cross court to get the side out for Ball State. It's now the freshman Van Beek back to serve. Van Beek on the night, 7 kills. That's more than double her previous career high of just 3. That came earlier this season against Appalachian State. But a serving error gives Eastern Michigan 7 set points to work with.
And both of these teams played in 5-set matches just last night. We're probably going to see another 5-set match. At that point, I believe fatigue becomes a significant factor. Eastern Michigan did have to travel from Toledo, Ohio to Muncie, Indiana last night. Ball State, on the other hand, stayed home. We'll see if either team can outlast the other one, and we'll definitely see the conditioning from both of these squads.
An ace for Goodsell. 9th of the season for the sophomore. That's second on the team, only behind Amber Seaman. (24-19) Eastern Michigan. Still plenty of room to work with in set 4.
Ball State moving forward to set number 5. It seems like they need to get back to their strengths. Sabrina Magnapora, Brooklyn Goodsell haven't been really going at the same time tonight. It seems like either one of them's on or both of them are off, because it's been either Brooklyn Goodsell or Sabrina Magnapora on the offensive end, but they haven't collectively been a force for the Cardinals.
A free ball over to Eastern Michigan, blocked at the net. Smith sails too long. Ball State's within 4.
Ball State, I was going to just say, if Ball State maybe gets one more point, Kimmy Olsen should consider a timeout, because definitely not an opportunity that you want to slip away if you're Eastern Michigan in set number 4. Don't let Ball State creep back into set number 4, because if they end up creeping back in, tie the set at 24, then anything can happen. In Ball State, if they win this set, they win the entire match. Eastern Michigan, all their focus is right now is just take it to a set number 5, readjust, make adjustments like they have been all game in between sets.
Eastern Michigan had a 7-point lead, 3 consecutive Ball State points, pulls it within 24-20. It looked like Eastern Michigan was going to have set 4, Corey, but Ball State's not going away.
Ball State's definitely not going away, and it started back at service. Brooklyn Goodsell has gotten Eastern Michigan's defense a little bit out of system with the covers in the back row. It seems like they've had to move around, and different back row defenders haven't been able to get a clean pass to the setter, which is Riley Taylor up front for Eastern Michigan. If Brooklyn Goodsell, she struggles with service errors on the season. If she can continue to serve the ball over the net and have a clean service, it seems like Eastern Michigan's defense is having some problems, and you could see Ball State creep their way back into set number 4. All it takes, though, at this point is one good swing from Eastern Michigan or one good block. That's the advantage that they have with they had 7 set points.
Still 4 set points to work with as Goodsell serves. Back row attack, Avila dives. A joust at the net, and it's won by the much smaller Riley Taylor, the freshman. Eastern Michigan takes set 5, a final score of 25-20. For the second consecutive night from Worthen Arena, we're heading to a decisive set 5. Ball State and Eastern Michigan tied 2 apiece as we head to the 5th set. It was Ball State winning set 1 and set 3. Eastern Michigan was able to win set 2 and keep themselves alive with a set 4 win, 25-20. Ball State's relying heavily on a true freshman, not only tonight but all season long, Corey, and Kate Avila.
And Kate Avila, the true freshman libero, has been a cement block in the defense for the Ball State Cardinals, and Kelly Miller talked about it, just the growth that she has shown over the past few matches. In the last 6 matches has really improved that digs per set number, and it seems as though Kate Avila has been the standing point for the Ball State Cardinals.
And something that Coach Miller also said about her that she loves about Kate Avila is she's not flashy. She doesn't try to do anything too much, and really without her, they don't win very much this season.
Yeah, Kate Avila really just does the dirty work in the back and doesn't need all of the recognition. 17 digs on the night tonight, has played in every set in her true freshman year. And not only is Kate Avila the cement block for the Ball State Cardinals, but her dad, Ramon Avila, was also a 3-year letter winner for the Ball State Cardinals program. Played with former women's volleyball coach Steve Shondell.
Played under Don Shondell. There he is right there in the middle. Ramon Avila, a 3-year member of Ball State's volleyball team. Still here around the Muncie area, a marketing professor at Ball State University.
Seems as though an easy choice for Kate Avila. Her dad here, a little piece from home, and also being so close from Yorktown High School.
One might think it's an easy decision, but her sister Laura is actually at Bowling Green.
She thought otherwise. She took all of the all of the situations that were presented. Her dad teaching at Ball State University. Maybe she's one more that likes to take her own path. Kate Avila on the other end stays with the family ties.
We're set for set 5 action. Unlike the first 4 sets, it only goes to 15 instead of 25. It's Hannah Smith, the true freshman, to serve. Smith sails long, looking for a tip, none detected. It's the first time tonight that Ball State has scored the first point of a set.
Smith is always one to come with a powerful attack, and that's what she feeds off of, is that tip. So no surprise that Eastern Michigan was arguing for the tip on that, and also a big point that Ball State just took to start off this set number 5 strong would be huge for either team.
Quick tip kept alive. Mangapora blocked at the net. Kept alive, but a double hit for Eastern Michigan. Point to Ball State. This is the 3rd time this season where Ball State is playing in back-to-back 5-set matches.
And last night, even with Central Michigan coming back and winning sets 3 and 4 to come back, as the Cardinals almost finished that match in 3 sets, Ball State was able to produce and make the adjustments in set number 5 to create the victory. Eastern Michigan comes in with the momentum after winning set number 4, and Ball State off the get seems like they have made the transitions the most effectively.
Smith again too long, the attack error, and Ball State's out early 3-0. The Cardinals 3-3 in 5-set matches this season. Eastern Michigan victorious in their only one. It came just 24 hours ago against Toledo. Service error from Smith. It's Eastern Michigan's first points of the set.
And even though Smith had the service error there, it presents a great matchup defensively for the Ball State Cardinals with both Hannah Smith, Kate Avila, and Brooklyn Goodsell, all great defenders in the back row in the Cardinals defense.
Mangapora adjusts on the fly and tips it over with the left hand. Holland blocked at the net. Eastern Michigan pulls within 1.
With a great defensive lineup out for the Cardinals, one thing that they lack is the offense. Sabrina Magnapora and Brooklyn Goodsell would have to come up from both outside positions. Instead, Seaman goes to Holland, who's not as much of an offensive-minded player, in the middle.
Holland off the slide, again deflected at the net. Outside to Smith. A free ball to Ball State. Mangapora in the middle, goes cross court, and it hits the sideline.
With ineffectiveness on the outsides, Magnapora transitions more to the middle where she has more court to work with. Still 2 blockers there, but wise to go on the right side when the blockers were positioned on her left.
Seaman with the attack herself. Joust at the net, won by Van Beek.
Van Beek was not present as much in set number 4, but comes right back in just where she led off in set number 3, denying the Eastern Michigan attack.
Ball State out on top of Eastern Michigan 5-2 in the fifth and decisive set. Tied 2-2 between these MAC West foes. Tipped at the net. Mangapora keeps it alive. Van Beek again. 9 kills on the evening for Van Beek in just 16 attacks. Attacking percentage of nearly 500.
Demolishing her career high in kills. Came into the match with a career high of 3. Now at 9 kills, she's been a huge presence in the middle for Ball State. Even on plays like that, when she's able to just stand in the middle on a bad pass from Eastern Michigan, she's been able to tip the ball over. But Eastern Michigan definitely not laying down in this 5th set. They fought so hard to come back in set number 4.
Van Beek on the slide right into the net. Only a second error for Van Beek attacking tonight.
Well, in basketball, after you make a couple 3-point shots, they call it a heat check. If you just come down and fire another one away, that seemed like almost a heat check between Seaman and Van Beek. Van Beek's been so effective in sets number 4 and 5 in the middle, that time trying to go out and slide to the right side, but it was ineffective. And now Seaman going back to her strengths and Sabrina Magnapora on the outside.
On the second attempt, Mangapora gets the kill. She has a match high 14. Ball State leads by 3. And Seaman with the serving error.
It was a bad toss by Seaman off the get, and she had to lunge forward to even get a touch on that ball and not step on the line. It was all about the toss for Seaman on that service error.
A bad reception there on the pass. And Eastern Michigan was able to put it down on the Ball State side, pulling within 1, 7-6 in the 5th set. It's the freshman libero. Outside Mangapora. Smith gives chase, and Eastern sends a free ball over. Mangapora denied.
Ball State had all the time in the world to set up their offensive attack, as the free ball took forever for Eastern Michigan to get back on Ball State's side. But still, even if Magnapora can transition into the middle, 2 blockers were there for Eastern Michigan to deny it.
Point to Eastern Michigan, and quickly a timeout is called as the teams will switch sides halfway through. Eastern Michigan 8, Ball State 7.
Visible frustration from the Ball State Cardinals right now, and they need to calm down even with Eastern Michigan on this run.
Eastern Michigan 8, Ball State 7. Halfway through set 5, we send it down to Allison Luthvik.
Ball State taking it. Both teams coming in tonight after winning their MAC opening games last night. Ball State took Central Michigan in 5 sets, while Eastern Michigan took Toledo in 5. Ball State will be playing Toledo later this week. When the 2 teams met last season, Ball State took the victory in 3.
Thank you, Allison. Eastern Michigan 8, Ball State 7. The Cardinals looking to win against Eastern Michigan for the first time in 4 tries, dating back to almost 2 years ago, October 3rd of 2014. But Corey, both of these teams had a lackluster non-conference schedule. Ball State was 4-10, Eastern Michigan 5-8, but the winner tonight stays perfect in conference through the opening weekend.
And that's huge for confidence moving forward for a team, especially a young team like both of these teams are, both in a bit of a transition as a program overall. Kimmy Olsen only in her 2nd year with an extremely young team, lost 6 starters from last season, and Ball State on the other hand in the 1st year of Kelly Miller's regime. So both teams will definitely take what they get in this first weekend of Mid-American Conference play with them for the rest of the season.
Ball State remains home after tonight's match on Thursday against Toledo, but then they will have 3 consecutive on the road. It's at Buffalo, at Northern Illinois, and then at Western Michigan, and then follow that up the following weekend back here in Worthen Arena against Kent State.
A tough stretch next weekend. even playing Toledo at home. It's a big turnaround to get on a plane, fly to Buffalo. You have to miss some classes as well, as it's a Thursday game versus Toledo. You fly out on Friday, I'm assuming, for this women's volleyball team. So it's a whole transition, and one that Ball State will need to take heavily next weekend, and possibly going in 2-0 in Mid-American Conference play if they can pull this one out.
Irby unable to catch up to it. Ball State ties it at 8 apiece.
And it all comes down really to just Eastern Michigan's defense. Can they get it set up at the net? Because when they've had the time to set up 2 defenders at the net, they've been so effective at blocking the Ball State Cardinals' attacks. But at sometimes, Amber Seaman can catch the Eastern Michigan off guard and get one blocker at the net. That's when Ball State's been effective offensively.
Jensen, a serving error directly into the net. Eastern Michigan regains the lead.
When you're brought in to serve the ball in a critical situation like this, that's the worst thing that can happen to a team. It sucks the life out of the Cardinals team. They were just on a high after the kill. Then Anna Jensen, who came in specifically to serve the ball and be a back row defender, has a service error. Whoever limits the most unforced errors will win this set number 5 down the stretch.
A back and forth set 5, Eastern Michigan 9, Ball State 8. The closest 5th set Ball State's been in this year was a 15-13 loss to Omaha. Good sell on the attack, ties it up again, 9 apiece. A win tonight for Ball State could give them wins in 6 of the last 7 matches after dropping the first 9 of the season. Seaman back set, good sell. Miscommunication, Eastern Michigan able to send the free ball over, but 4 hits.
An unforced error from Eastern Michigan gives the Ball State Cardinals the point. Bailey Bomber checking in for the Cardinals to serve. This time, Ball State, they got a gift from Eastern Michigan on the unforced error and the 4-hit violation. Now just limit the serves. You don't have to have the most powerful serve. Just get it over the net in play.
Quick tap over the net from Ferguson. Kitchell puts it down between 2 defenders. Ball State's up 2.
And that's the advantage of having the redshirt senior Mackenzie Kitchell on your side of the ball when it comes crunch time. Mackenzie Kitchell hasn't played the most minutes tonight for the Ball State Cardinals, hasn't even played the most sets for the Ball State Cardinals in the past few matches, but when it's time, she's been there, she's done that before, and is able to come down with the kill for the Cardinals and extend their lead to 2.
The senior leader for Ball State gets the kill to give the Cardinals a 2-point lead. Corey, for the 2nd consecutive night, a 5-set match and a thriller to say the least.
Well, it's test teams conditioning as well. Both of these teams having 5-set matches last night. These teams are obviously getting tired down the stretch, but at this point, it becomes mind over matter, and you have to put your fatigue behind you and just focus on these 6 points. You have tomorrow to rest. You have the rest of the week pretty much to rest until your games next week on Thursday and Friday. But at this point, just focus on these 6 points, and that's what it comes down to in these types of matches, back and forth.
How can Ball State close this out?
Well, Ball State has been effective going to their outside hitters as of late. It was Mackenzie Kitchell in the ball game. Brooklyn Goodsell is also out on the floor. Sabrina Magnapora, on the other hand, is finding herself on the bench right now, out of the rotation. So I would expect Amber Seaman to go to the strengths. Mackenzie Kitchell has been strong, as has Brooklyn Goodsell through this match.
Coach Kimmy Olsen for Eastern Michigan, looking for back-to-back set 5 wins in consecutive nights. Good sell with the kill down the line. She has 15 on the night.
Seaman going to the strength in Brooklyn Goodsell. A nice serve by Bailey Bomber to start off, got Eastern Michigan out of system, and a free ball had to be sent over to the Ball State Cardinals, and that's when the Cardinals have to execute an unforced error on the reception of Bailey Bomber's serve. Cardinals have to execute down the stretch. The most unforced errors, that's the team that will lose the game.
Irby answers back for Eastern Michigan. after the kill. Irby back to serve. And Seaman gets the point. Sends it all the way to the back corner. Ball State within 2 points of closing out the 5th set.
She loves that push attack, assessing the defense, looking to see where the weakness is on the Eastern Michigan side. Found it in the back corner, and on a back and forth possession and single point like that, you have to mix it up somehow, and Amber Seaman caught the Eastern Michigan off guard. Instead of setting the ball, just pushing it to the back left.
Quick tap over the net, and it finds the center of the defense. Nobody there for Ball State.
Beautiful tip by Kelly Ferguson on that last play. Saw Emily Holland was the only blocker, but instead the set was a little low for her liking, and found that just a tip over Emily Holland would get the job done.
Holland off the top of the net, bounces in front of the Eastern Michigan back row. Match point for Ball State. Out of bounds, Ball State wins. A huge win for Ball State tonight keeps them perfect through the first weekend of conference play. After starting just 4-10 in the non-conference, Ball State sits at 2-0 atop the MAC West.
Eastern Michigan fought hard all this match. Back in set number 2, back in set number 4. They got the victories in those sets and pulled up close in set number 5. A lot of long faces on the Eastern Michigan sideline. Disappointing for them because they did play so well, especially at some points in this match defensively. They were all over the Ball State Cardinals, but in the end it came down to the most consistent amongst the 5 sets, and that was the Ball State Cardinals.
With a team that's so young like this, Corey, what can this do confidence-wise to win the first 2 matches of conference play?
Well, the confidence is through the roof. It doesn't matter what opponent you're facing, so Ball State will definitely go through the rest of the Mid-American Conference with some confidence, knowing that they can compete with any team in the conference. Eastern Michigan was definitely strong tonight. Jordan Smith, number 12 there, a huge swing for Eastern Michigan. They were very effective, but in the end, Ball State defensively got it done. Offensively, providing a huge spark for them was Sydney Van Beek. Right there, as you see her just get it back down on Eastern Michigan's side. And in the end, it was the outside attackers. Mackenzie Kitchell came through down the stretch, Brooklyn Goodsell, and Sabrina Magnapora.
Again, Ball State wins a 5-set thriller for the second night in a row. We go down to Allison Luthman with the winning head coach, Kelly Miller.
Congratulations, Coach. You and head coach from Eastern Michigan, Kimmy Olsen, have been friends for years. Can you describe what that means to you to both be heading your own programs this year, and especially to have your teams together tonight playing against each other?
Yeah, it is pretty cool. I think both of us coming throughout the Munciana program, I've known that family for a long time, and volleyball has meant a lot to our lives for a long time, and so it means a lot. We kind of communicated a lot about, being my first year. She took over the reins last year. She's had some good advice to me, so it was really cool.
Good, we're glad we get to see that. And so last night you beat Central Michigan in 5 sets, 5 sets again tonight in Eastern Michigan. Well, what are you taking from that into your next game?
I'm glad we won them. They were battles. We definitely did not play as well as we're capable of playing, but what I do appreciate it is that we were able to still find a way to win. So things weren't always going our way, but we were able to claw back and find a way to win. So that's great momentum, great confidence builder going into next week's conference, and we'll take them any way we can get them. So we'll take both of these this weekend.
We wish you the best of luck. Thanks, Coach.
Thank you, Allison, and congratulations to head coach Kelly Miller in her first season. She dropped the first 9 for Ball State to start the season, but has since won 6 of the last 7, including the first 2 of conference play.
Kelly Miller was huge. I like what she said there. We'll take him any way we can get him. And it wasn't pretty tonight for the Ball State Cardinals, especially in sets 2 and 4. Eastern Michigan dominated those sets, but in the end, it was consistency from the Ball State Cardinals. And with a young team like this, a little bit of inexperience for the Ball State Cardinals, losing so many seniors last year, you'll definitely take them any way you can get them and move forward with confidence for the rest of the Mid-American Conference season.
How can Ball State ride this energy going forward with some momentum?
Well, I think it's invaluable, the energy that they gained from tonight and last night competing against 2 MAC West teams. I think that they've proven to themselves that they can compete with anyone in the Mid-American Conference.
Ball State wins in 5 sets tonight, a final score of 15-11. Tonight's Ball State Sports Link production was produced by Caitlin Young and directed by J.C. Obringer. For Corey Stace and Allison Luthman, I'm Noah Reed saying so long from Muncie, where the final score is Ball State in a thriller, 3-2 over Eastern Michigan. To watch this entire game on replay, as well as other games in our family of ESPN networks, log on to Watch ESPN or download the Watch ESPN app. Thanks everybody for watching. This has been a presentation of ESPN.